Hi there, it's Nicole for Lawn Fawn, and today I have a Mother's Day card that features some partial die cutting with this vase in the half circle opening there. To start, I have a 5.5 by 4.25 inch piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to draw a line there using a ruler and a pencil just to give me a guideline where I am going to be wanting to die cut up to a point, and then I'm going to use one of the largest small stitched circle die from Lawn Fawn to create my opening. And at the same time, I'm going to use this flower vase from the Our Friendship Grows stamp set and die collection. And I'm going to be partially die cutting both of these pieces. I'm going to line up that pencil line there with the edge of my magnetic platform and then run it through my die cutting machine. I'm just going to kind of partially go halfway there underneath the cutting blade. I'm going to remove the post-it tape that I've used to hold my dies in place, and you can see that I have some partially cut pieces, and I want to just cut out that circle piece. So I'm going to line up my ruler again with my pencil line and carefully just create some straight cuts with my craft knife and just kind of cut where it didn't quite go all the way down to that line there with both of these images. Better safe than sorry. I didn't want it to go past that line, and go ahead and pop out that circle piece. Then I'll go ahead and take my eraser and erase any of those pencil lines. This is going to make it appear that the vase is sitting on a little ledge in that half circle opening. Once I have that all erased, I am going to go ahead and take some black ink. This is a hybrid ink that'll work with Copic coloring. And I'm going to stamp the vase right there from the Our Friendship Grows stamp set. And then I'm going to take the largest of the rectangle stitched dies from Lawn Fawn, line that up, and I'm going to go ahead and die cut this panel. So this panel is not going to be as big as a standard A2 card. I'll go ahead and run that through my die cutting machine. I like to start with a little bit bigger piece that gives me a little room to play with when creating one of these panels like this. And I'm also going to need another panel for the back of this because I'm going to be using a little distress ink, and that way I don't have to use the distress ink on the actual card base itself. So I have two that are exactly the same size. I am going to draw a little pencil line here just where the opening is so that I know right where I need to apply my distress ink. I'm using one of the newer distress inks. This is Cracked Pistachio, and it's not applying all that great here, maybe new foam or something. So I'm going to kind of come off of the edge and really have to blend this one out. For whatever reason, I didn't start out all that well, but I persevered and was able to get it all blended out really nicely. I'm kind of working from the edge of the cardstock piece there and working my way up. Now I don't want the entire thing to be the same color of ink, or it's the same color but the same saturation. I want it to be darker at the bottom and then gradually get lighter the higher up that I go. So I'm going to grab that panel and kind of see where I'm at there and work my way up. So I definitely am going to keep applying it darker at the bottom and then work my way up to the top of that half circle with a little bit lighter ink. Once I have that all looking the way I want it to look, we'll check it again and see if I have the ink far enough up. There's still a couple of little harsh lines there, so I am going to go ahead and blend those out again just a little bit more to get the ink the way I want. It doesn't have to be terribly pretty here. It's going to be hidden. Most of this will be hidden behind the rest of that front panel. Next, I'm going to stamp the flowers from the Our Friendship Grows on some white cardstock and the leaves. I'm stamping more flowers than I'm actually going to use. And then I'll go ahead and start coloring them in. I'm using RV10 for the lightest pink. Instead of a traditional sunflower look like you might see a lot with this stamp set. I chose to kind of make it look like a different type of flower by using different colors of ink. Next, I'm going in with my darkest ink, which is going to be RV25, and just flicking or feathering in some of that darker color on all of the flower petals. And then I'll go in with my mid-tone color after this and blend out that darker color a little bit. I'm using RV23 to pull out some of that dark and make it not quite so harsh. I think it blended out just a little too much. I did want a little bit more differentiate or a different color, I guess. I wanted it to be a little bit darker and I felt like it blended too much. So I'm also using the RV10 and RV23 for the center of the flower. I went back with my RV25 and flicked in a little bit more dark. And I'm using YG21 to add a tiny bit of green to the center of my flower, and then blending out all three of those pink colors I used with the YG21 and adding a little dot detail there to finish off the center of my flower. I used YG23 and 17 for the leaves, and then I'll use the coordinating dies to die cut all of these out really quick. Now I do have two flowers on this card, so I colored the second flower exactly the same way as the first one. Once I have these die cut, go ahead and grab the panels there, my die cut panel, and lay everything out and make sure that everything is looking the way I want it to look for my card. I'll go ahead and color in the vase now. I'm starting with BG34, which is my base color, and I'm going to saturate that really good. The vase is going to be very similar to the background. I wanted the flowers to definitely take precedent. Next, I went in with BG49 and added a bit of darker color, and then went in with my mid-tone color, which is BG13, to blend out that darkest. I went back in with my lightest BG34 and again went back with BG49 to add some more dark color there, and again blended it out with my mid-tone color, the BG13. I slightly curved the stems from the Our Friendship Grows stamp set and colored them in with YG17. There's not a coordinating die for those, so I did just hand cut those with some scissors so they matched the flowers and leaves as well as the vase. And then I am using the greetings from Happy Everything that says Happy Mother's Day, using some black ink to stamp each individual word there just to the left of the vase. You could line them up and stamp them all at once if you wanted to. I like to stamp them individually. I feel like I can get them maybe a little bit closer together than if you would line them all up on one block. I think it's just a personal preference. Once I have the greeting, I can go ahead and start attaching all of these little pieces. Now you might see that I stamped the solid image of the stems first. Originally, I thought I would just stamp the stems with a little green ink, and not only did I not get them lined up on the background there, I didn't really like how it looked. I felt like it just didn't match or coordinate the rest of the card design. So what I ended up doing was, instead of scrapping the whole card, I am able to hide all of that by just how I place all of the other elements. So I'm going to tuck in my stems first. I'm using a little zig glue pen to attach these. They're pretty small, so I felt like that was the best adhesive. And I'm able to hide all of my previous stamping. Even if they don't completely cover there up at the top, you can see, once I attach that flower, you're not going to see any of that green stem. You'll just see those stamped and colored in stems that I cut out. Then I'm going to tuck that leaf and kind of plop it right in there. I think the way that you adhere the leaves really helps give it a nice feeling, more realistic feeling, where it's tucked under and over there. I'm going to take a white gel pen and add a little detail to the center of those flowers, right where those black dots are. And then to place my panel on my white card base, I'm going to use some foam adhesive. Oh, before I do that, I did take the Wink of Stella clear glitter pen and add a little bit of glitter to the flowers for a little subtle sparkle and shine. I'm going to color the entire thing in. It's a little hard to see in the video, but in real life, I think the sparkle really adds to the flowers. Now, when I'm adding foam adhesive to the back of my cards, I do tend to use a lot, and that is simply because I don't want them to get smushed when they go through the mail. I don't want any parts of the card to kind of cave in, if you will. So I tend to use quite a lot of foam adhesive. I love the foam adhesive that comes in this large roll because it gives you so much, and you can easily cut or tear it and trim it down, whatever you need to do to fit the piece that you're trying to attach to your card. I'll center that right on my white card base. And then finally, I'm going to finish my card by attaching some small pearls. I'm going to scatter them kind of from the top right corner to the bottom left. And that will finish off this Mother's Day card design. Thanks for watching this video showcasing a Mother's Day card featuring Lawn Fawn stamps and dies. For more information on how I created this card, please visit my blog at nicolemcguirk.typepad.com. The supplies I've used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. As always, thanks for joining me here, and we will catch you next time.